Oh, hi. I'm Jimmy Young from Pro Cannabis Media, and I was just watering our fake plants in the studio here outside of Boston. You see, when it comes to growing things, leave me out of it. I'll leave it to the experts. And we all know the real superstars of the cannabis industry are the growers. Well, there's a supernatural organic growers conference that's coming to Massachusetts here in early February. That's right. This coincides with our new growing initiative here at the network for the cannabis industry. You see, the new year of 2022 brings growth to Pro Cannabis Media, literally, and in our programming. Our new live show is called Calling All Growers with High Times TV personality Liz Grow and Skunk Magazine editor and Humboldt native Wendy Kornberg. That's right, that live show debuts Wednesday, February 9th here at the network. And amazingly enough, the conference for growers, the first one ever, bringing in people from Humboldt County and the Emerald Triangle all the way to the East Coast to Massachusetts, is in Sturbridge, February 11th, 12th, and 13th. And yes, Liz Grow and Wendy will both be at that conference as well. Some of the most well-known growers from Humboldt County in California head east for the first time with their stories and experiences from that Emerald Triangle. Massachusetts' own Acadia Farms, Ben Morgan Dillon, will be one of the featured speakers at this year's conference at the Sturbridge Conference Center that Friday, 11th through the 13th at 8 a.m. So for more information, log on to organiccultivators.net for info and tickets. So grow with PCM TV and the Supernatural Conference, will ya?
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
Welcome to Calling All Growers. I'm your host, Liz Grow, and I am so thrilled to be here tonight and to be a part of this incredible program. Calling All Growers is all about the growers in the cannabis industry, the growers who are our superstars, our healers, our nurturers, the folks that, without these men and women, we would not have this incredible plant that's healing so many today. And so I'm over the moon because growers and cultivators are my favorite people to learn from. And so tonight I have with me as a very special guest and co-host, the expert master cultivator from Humboldt, second generation cannabis cultivator, Sunnybis, Full Sun Farms in Humboldt, Miss Wendy Kornberg. Wendy, thank you for co-hosting with me tonight.
Hi, Liz. Thanks so much for having me. This is amazing. I'm really, really honored to be here and really honored to be talking with somebody about cultivation since I've been doing this growing up, in the community and in the culture of cultivating. It's very cool to be experiencing this with you. So thank you.
Yeah, it's just for me, we could talk for the entire show, just you and I. I have so many questions about what it must have been like just to grow up with, as with cannabis cultivation as your family business. Could you just, humor me a little bit and tell me about what that's like as, coming from a woman from Texas?
Yeah, growing up in Humboldt County in California in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it wasn't something, I think all children experience this, that whatever you're growing up and whatever you're doing, it's just part of the norm. So, the 1 acre garden that had fruit trees and tomatoes and cucumbers and some weed was nothing, nothing out of the norm. It was nothing, just another plant. It wasn't a big deal. And then it really was, when we got into the whole DARE program and they tried bringing that into our school, And that was, I think the police lasted like 2 days in our junior high before we started all laughing, because when it became this, marijuana is a very evil thing. And if you see people doing this, you should turn them in. And everybody's like, oh, we're done here. This is, you got to go. Like, that's not part of our culture at all. We don't turn people in. We don't rat on people. We take care of our own, and we're doing just fine over here. So, wasn't anything different. And then getting into college and finding out that like, oh wow, people like, I think I showed up with a quarter pound to my friend's house at one point, and they were like, I have never seen that much weed in my life. And I was like, oh, this is like nothing. So that was really where it started to become very obvious that like, I probably grew up a little bit differently than most people.
Oh my God, that is so incredible. And you grew up knowing the difference between good quality cannabis and, swag.
No, we didn't have swag. I had no idea what swag was till I got into college.
Wow. Oh my God, that's incredible. I am in Texas. I'm deep in the heart of Texas, behind enemy lines, working to advocate for marijuana policy reform here in Texas, and make it so my fellow Texans can grow this beautiful plant, grow this medicine for their needs, and certainly get this medicine as an alternative to many, harmful prescription meds. But I am educating a group. I'm working to educate a group of people who, some of them truly believe that this is the devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
Okay. They truly believe that. And some folks are still hung up on the fact that if we allow more cannabis acceptance, then the kids will get it, and they'll get it in their hands and they'll get sick. So obviously, you're coming from, the heart of, the cannabis culture and cannabis cultivation in this country. What would you tell those people and those parents specifically?
Yeah, the big thing in California, even when Proposition 64 was passing, there was a lot of pushback from the same, even though California, everybody thinks of it as this beautiful free state, we still have a lot of people that are very conservative with cannabis policy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big conversation. But what about the children? And my response has always been, what about the children? But what about them? What? It's honestly, it is a plant. And I understand once you're getting into concentrates and once you're getting into edibles, that can start to tread the line of you need to be more cautious. Don't leave a pan of pot brownies out on the counter. Your children will get them and they will eat them. I guarantee it. And it will be a very, very interesting, 6 to 24 to 48 hours. And it could possibly be dangerous. So be conscientious about it. But when it's a growing plant, it's literally just another plant. I grew up around the growing plants. My children grew up around the growing plants. They don't see it as anything different. And they show no interest in consuming it. It's not like my kids are out there trying to figure out how to get high. They're like, we don't really care. It's not that big of a deal. We've removed the taboo. It's not, honestly, I tried smoking a cigarette before I tried smoking cannabis, because there was more of a taboo about tobacco than there was about weed. So there's a really good personal reference of, but what about the children? I also got drunk before I started smoking cannabis.
Right.
These are real conversations that people are still trapped in this whole ideology of reefer madness. And it's just, it's outdated. It's unrealistic. And when it comes to, that's just like personal story of children and cannabis. But even when it comes to regulation and policy, it becomes, you have to learn how to speak their language. You can't say like, well, weed isn't that bad. You have to be able to say like, well, we understand that, you see this as something very dangerous. And there's been a lot of propaganda about how dangerous cannabis is. But we also do know that it has amazing medical benefits. So let's not say weed for everybody, but let's say, what about cannabis for Susie who has epilepsy and has seizures? We know it can help that. What about cannabis for people going through chemotherapy that aren't able to keep food down? What about, and you start opening the door and giving regulators and, policymakers and even, Jack and Jane next door who do believe in devil's lettuce and that it is evil. You give them something to step away from that gently, instead of just going full into like, hey, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, okay, we understand you're fearful. So what about making exceptions for people that this can really help? What about when we read these stories about these people that are alive today because of cannabis medicine? Can we make exceptions for these people? And then that can start to open their mind, and they can start to see that maybe this isn't as bad as I thought it was. And it can really change the conversation, and it can give your advocacy a whole platform to stand on that isn't as much of a fight. It's more of a gentle leading into, this isn't so bad. This isn't as bad as you thought it was.
Right. It's not like an alarm clock in your ear. It's more like one of those like sun, gradually the lights coming on and you're like, and then that it really does. I feel like, in the position that I am in here in Texas, being able to educate from such a dark place of reefer madness, I feel very fortunate to be able to do that. And, one of the reasons why I love hanging out with cultivators and learning from cultivators is because that really removes the stigma of the plant as well, because we get to take it to the science. We get to take it to the level of how this plant interacts with human beings. And so I'd love to talk about Sunnybis, the Full Sun Farms. You are the CEO and founder. I'm assuming this is your family farm. I'd love to hear more about your operation.
Yeah, so I'm a second generation cultivator from Humboldt County. That means that my parents cultivated. My dad also is a construction or a contractor. So he built tons of amazing houses and things. But, like I said, growing weed was always kind of there and in the background. And in 2016, our county, Humboldt County, put together the first medical marijuana ordinance in our state that was going to be for recreational. And it was, our county said, we're going to go ahead and, we know you guys are doing this, so we're going to let you do it legally and stop worrying about us coming and busting you.
Yeah.
And
thanks.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a really long process. It was years of them trying to figure out how to do it and us trying to figure out how to do it with them. And then 64 hit. And so then we had recreational cannabis, and then that changed the whole thing again. But during that whole time, the team was made up of myself, my partner, and my mother. She is still on the team. She still works with us. She cultivates. She's 72 years old. And I constantly say my mom is probably one of the hardest working team members. She helps us take care of the kids. She plants, she harvests, she helps trim, she helps do it all. And it's really kind of an amazing, every now and then I come out and I start talking to people like you in Texas that, there's not that many second generation, if any, cultivators. And if they are, they don't get to talk about it. So being able to be this representation of this multi-generation female cultivation team is a real honor and blessing, and quite a bit intimidating at times too, when people are like, people like look to this as an example. I'm like, oh my gosh. And honestly, it's a great example to be, because I love my mom. She's amazing. We get along super well. And there's no way I would have been able to do any of this without her.
Oh God, that's so beautiful.
That was more about my mom than the company, but yeah.
No, but that's a cannabis. We talk about the plant, but then we start talking about our connections to the plant and people, around it, and that's what life is about, right? Talk to me about, this is an organic Full Sun farm. Tell me what that means, like in layman's terms.
So we've always done organic cultivation. Growing up, that was just how you farmed, was you used manure and you used, dried amendments, and you used water. There was no part A, B, and C weird fertilizers. There was no hydroponics. There was none of that. It was just in the ground, native soil, native water, throw some amendments at it now and then you're good to go. And, but then most recently, as of, I've actually lost track. It's maybe 5 or 6 years ago now, I started discovering Korean natural farming. And that really shifted. So we no longer say we are organic. We talk about being beyond organic. We talk about being beyond sustainable and actually into regenerative farming. And the first time I heard that term, I actually had to Google, because I went, what is regenerative farming? What's a regenerative farm? What does that even mean? And I looked it up.
Notes.
Yeah. Well, you can Google too. It works well. The very simple answer was regenerative farming is putting more back into the earth than you took out. And my immediate response to that was like, well, that's just farming. What? I don't understand. And I really had to think about, the middle of the States, and when you're driving through hours and hours and hours of nothing but cornfields, and then you drive through in the middle of winter and it's literally bare dirt. And I was like, oh, that's right. Traditional industrial agriculture is tillage, fertilizer, pesticide, herbicide, till, fertilize, pesticide, herbicide, kill, poison, death, and then try and grow something that's the only thing you want. And it's very much not at all the way that I think, or the way that we know for certain, a way that works. It is a way to produce a inferior food product. It is a way that we create giant dust bowls. It's a way that we're literally destroying our earth. We're killing by tilling, and it's really, really bad. So we're on the opposite spectrum. We utilize everything on our farm for our farm. So most of our inputs we make ourselves. We make our own fertilizers out of weeds. We make our own amendments out of, like, we have some chickens, we have rabbits. We are going to be looking towards getting other animal husbandry as we build the farm out. We have a pond that is a rainwater catchment pond, so we're not taking water out of the water table. And
beautiful rainwater.
It's amazing. It's really working with nature to create a product. And, you know, we're doing pretty good. We're winning awards and things with our cannabis too. So people are like, well, you suffer in quality. I'm like, nope, you sure don't. And then people are like, well, you suffer in yield. I'm like, no, our yield is the same. It's the same as standard organic. And, you know, I did delve into some indoor back in the day, and we did I tried hydroponic for a really short period of time and discovered it was way too difficult for me. Like, all the tinkering and, you know, pH constantly, and I was just like, this is really hard, you guys. By hydroponic people, I'm like, whoa,
like, why would you do that when you have the soil out here?
Exactly. I'm like, I get to put it in the ground, and then I get to hang out and take pictures of my feet and smell flowers. That's my farm. I'm good with that.
Oh my God, I want to come visit. How big is the farm?
We are a 160 acre ranch under cultivation. We only have 18,000 square feet currently, so a little under half an acre. We do have the option to go up to about an acre, which would include 20,000 square feet of a dry farm, which means that we would not irrigate it at all. But, you know, for anybody who's been paying attention to the California cannabis market, it's a bit upside down. There's a lot of overproduction going on. So we're just walking slowly in that direction. And mostly I want to do it because I have never actually done dry farming before. I've been studying it for years, and now I'm just like, oh, I'm so ready to get it going. But I'm pretty sure it'd break my heart to produce this amazing cannabis and then not be able to sell it because we're, you know, overproducing by like 20 million pounds or something ridiculous.
Oh God, it just hurts my soul as a Texan.
Right?
There's 20 million pounds of gorgeous Cali bud just sitting there.
I know. I'm like, we need to bring it to you guys. We need to
interstate commerce. Oh, but it will be amazing.
But honestly, you know what the real truth is? I would rather teach Texans how to do this. I would rather teach everybody. Like, I have a horrible business model. My business model is everybody grows their own, and I can't sell mine anymore.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hug you. I cannot wait to hug you, Wendy. That is absolutely it. That's the most beautiful thing. And that's the point and mission of this show, is about encouraging and inspiring people to grow their own and to ask the questions that they're afraid to ask, and to just try it out. I'm going to grow my own for the first time. It's going to be hemp, and I'm so excited. And you know, it may crash and burn, but that is okay. Because I feel like it's more about the experience sometimes than the actual yield. But listen, but I know we have to go to break shortly, but I don't want to go to break before talking about this weekend, the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. You're hosting, Wendy Kornberg. Talk to us about this conference.
Yeah, we basically put together a conference that we really wanted to bring to the East Coast, because I have a lot of people that reach out and they're like, oh, I wish I could learn from you, but I am way over here. And originally we were thinking about keeping it on the West Coast. And eventually we just went, you know, we need to be over here. We need to be where things are really kind of coming to fruition quickly. And we want to encourage people to get ahead of the ball before the ball gets ahead of them. And so we put together a 3-day workshop. My partner, James Buer, is really the mastermind behind all of the, you know, the programming and getting a lot of our speakers. I reached out to some of our speakers, but he reached out to, for example, Dan Kittredge, who runs the Bionutrient Food Association. And the really cool thing about our conference that's very different is it's meant for farming and cannabis. So it's not exclusive to one or the other. It's not just about weed. And what we really see the future of this coming to is that cannabis is just going to be another crop like everything else. And hopefully it's going to stay a little bit higher priced so that the small farmers that are struggling with their food crops can have this as an additional income source. And then the smaller or larger farmers that are just cannabis can add food onto their farms as well. So we're trying to kind of bridge this gap of food and medicine and show people that, you know, what works for one may not necessarily work for the other, but there's an underlying ideology that works together with all of it. And it really does come down to the opposite of industrial agriculture. It comes down to regenerative. It comes down to polycrops, poly planting, right? That's not the word. Somebody will correct me.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the comments are open.
Monocrops, right?
Yeah, not
monocrop.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, yes. Well, I'm not even going to go there. Okay, because I know that we have to take a break, but thank you for giving us that intro. When we come back, I do want to talk more about the agenda of the conference and really what attendees can expect to learn. And we'll have a guest with us, a new guest, Mr. Benjamin Morgan Dillon, founder of Acadia Farms, will be with us. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this message from our generous sponsors.
Hey, you want to grow your own plants? Check out Style Lighting's Grow Kit. It has everything you need to become an expert home grower and bring the power of the sun indoors. Style Lighting uses TCP's high-powered commercial LEDs that deliver twice the output in the market. The Grow Kit has a grow bag, a timer, chains to hang the light, and of course the best in the business lighting system by TCP. Check out stylelighting.shop for more information.
Hi, my name's Tai Chang. I'm the president and founder of Aloha Green Apothecary in Hawaii. We're a vertically integrated medical cannabis company with 3 dispensaries, 1 extraction lab, and 1 cultivation center near the North Shore of Oahu. We have over 150 employees now, and we've been working with Adaptive HR to meet our human resource needs. We're super excited to work with them as we expand, and we've grown at least 2-3 times over the last 2 years. So we look forward to a good relationship with Adaptive, and come visit us in Hawaii anytime. Aloha.
Hi, my name is Janice O'Reilly. I'm a partner with AAF CPAs, a national CPA firm that specializes in cannabis. We're based out of Boston. We have been working with Adaptive HR for several years and have recommended them to our clients, who have all been extremely happy with their service and their responsiveness.
Calling All Growers with Liz Grow is supported by the Grow Kit from stylelighting.shop, Adaptive HR, built for your cannabis business, Revolutionary Clinics, where the patient comes first, by Accounting Buds, your accountant in cannabis, and by Salient Video Surveillance Systems for today and tomorrow's security. Want to learn from the best growers? Sign up for our growers webinar in exactly 2 weeks. Go to procannabismedia.com and sign up today.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Calling All Growers, and I'm your host, Liz Grow. And here we are back for our second segment of the show. We've been talking to Wendy Kornberg of Sunnybis Full Sun Farms, Humboldt Farms. And now we're back with Ben Morgan Dillon. We're so excited to have Ben Morgan Dillon with us. He's a sustainability and green facilities consultant and a regenerative farming expert and educator who will be a key speaker at the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference. So welcome, Ben. So great to have you join us.
Thanks, Liz. It's a pleasure to be here. I really enjoy what I do, and I enjoy getting to talk to people about it. And it's beautiful when you get to bring the things that you enjoy together.
Incredible. Yeah. So I want to start, Wendy and I were talking about the whys, the whys of you going beyond organic farming techniques and practices to regenerative. It sounds as if her family was started in that space. Did you yourself start with the organic and regenerative growing practices, or did you move into those practices?
No, I'm a convert. Well, with cannabis, I'm a convert. I grew up on a farm, and my grandmother had a green thumb, taught me a lot about, just growing herbs and flowers. All when I was a little kid, I spent a lot of time with her in the garden, and it was something I really enjoyed. But when I started growing cannabis, there really wasn't any information available, especially on the East Coast at that point. So you went to a grow store and you asked them for help, and they gave you cocoa and chems. And it worked for me for a long time. I worked my way through a huge number of different product lines and spent, I don't even want to think about how many thousands of dollars on it. But I finally worked my way over, just because I'd always been a grower outside as far as vegetables, and we'd always grown organically on the farm. We had animals, we used compost and manures. And I don't know why it took so many years, but I just had this concept that cannabis was different and that you had to use these specially formulated chemicals that were exactly what the plant needs to get what you want out of it. I tried a handful of times that I just grew like a handful of seeds in mediocre soil, and the results were mediocre. So I decided, you know what, they must know what they're talking about. And then I finally went to the Regen conference, and I met Wendy, and I met Chris Trump and a handful of other incredible people like Leighton Morrison. And I left completely just dumbstruck. It totally changed my approach to cannabis and cultivation in general. And now I've had the wonderful journey of going down the rabbit hole with these people, and had the honor of now being a teacher alongside them.
Wow, that's an incredible story. So what are the techniques that you get most excited about opening people's eyes to, opening other growers' eyes to?
Regenerative agriculture in general is it's pretty unique in its approach as far as what most people are used to with conventional ag or just conventional growing methods.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I really enjoy the most, though, it's Korean natural farming, and it's really what brought the inner geek out of me a little bit more. And just getting people to be able to taste, touch, smell, and enjoy different preparations that you make for plants.
Yes.
I love breaking down those concepts. FAA it's still to this day boggles my mind, but it's incredible. And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy and get most excited about, is the way that you can turn something that would be considered waste or byproduct into a very, very fruitful and productive system of fertilizing your soil and feeding your microbes and feeding your plants through the nutrient cycle.
And real quick, just because Ben, you blew through some acronyms there, and what I found is that a lot of people are like, I don't know what FFA, FFJ, what? So FAA, what he's talking about is fish amino acid, and it's using fish scraps and brown sugar and microbiology to create a plant nutrient that's high in nitrogen. And when he's talking also, you mentioned it really briefly at the beginning, but this is all for human health too. So I also practice Korean natural farming, and all the inputs we make for fertilizer, we can also ingest them in our own bodies, and most of us frequently do. And it's a way for human health also to bloom and blossom the way that our plant health does. So it's one of the coolest things ever.
Okay, I got to hear more about this. So give me an example of that. What input would you yourself ingest, and then would you give your plants?
Perfect example would be dinner that I'm going to be cooking in a little bit, which is going to be using rice, and I'm going to be making the rice with some FPJ, which is fermented plant juice. Specifically, this one is from aloe, and I find that it adds a really, really nice savory flavor to the meal, and it's delicious in itself. But FPJs in general often come out slightly like vinaigrettes. I use them actually pretty often on salads. I love ginger FPJ. Love cooking with that. I'm probably going to make some Thai food pretty soon with that. And then the general one, just for overall health, sort of an immuno booster, would be Oriental Herbal Nutrient, which is OHN, which is just a combination of a handful of things like angelica root, cinnamon, ginger, garlic, all things that naturally already have immuno boosting capacity, and just sort of help cleanse you out, keep you healthy and healthy, keep your microbiome in check.
Okay, okay. I love that. I absolutely love that. And it makes so much sense, when you think about it. I can understand how people are clinging to maybe the practices that they learned about, in magazines, and believe in, nutrients that you could buy at the store to get big yields. But it seems to be distancing ourselves from nature, doesn't it? When we incorporate chemicals and different, I guess, inputs into our soil, because soil's not an input. I'm sorry. I am, the reason I'm the host of Calling All Growers is because I might be the dumbest grower out there. Just the newest, I have all the questions, but
No
inputs
question is a bad question.
Thank you. And that's why I'm coming to the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference this weekend to learn. I'm going to have my notebook. I'm going to be just like recording everyone, talking to all of you, and just learning. So rather than ask just kind of a silly question, let me ask this, Ben. What are you most excited to present about at the conference this weekend?
So I've been diligently working on my presentation, and I think that I've really dialed it in pretty well, and I'm excited to present it to everybody. And it's gonna have some hot button topics in it, and it's gonna center basically around the concept of integrating regenerative and sustainable practices in cannabis cultivation, but also specifically indoors. A lot of people, when you tell them you're going to grow cannabis, you're going to grow it indoors, and you're going to do it organic, they already have a little bit of a hard time following you. And then you tell them that you're going to do it regeneratively, and they're completely lost. They think that it's all just going to be complete woo-woo. And I mean, really, there's solid science that backs it. And a lot of it actually comes down to just properly utilizing the environment that you're being given, preferably being able to do ground up construction where you can actually tailor the facility and everything that needs to be in that facility towards cultivation and towards the style of cultivation that you're going to be doing. You really need to be able to take into account all those factors. So I'm really excited to show how lean operations and facility design really are two of the most integral parts of a cultivation facility, and making it, really successful and efficient.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's not just about growing techniques, cultivation techniques, but it's about facilities. And it just feels like some insider info. Wendy, what do you think about this presentation, about what Ben's talking about? Have you heard of it? Are you psyched for it?
I am. I'm actually really excited because Ben does have so much experience in this, and it is a really common struggle that when you get to, I consult mostly with greenhouse growers and outdoor cultivators, because the indoor guys, they still have a hard time figuring out. They're like, you can't do this that way. And I'm like, oh, you absolutely can. And, I have a few small samples of clients that have done it successfully, but having somebody like Ben that's able to come in and say, listen, if you can just let me help you start by building it out the right way, it's easier. Usually I'm coming in when it's like, we need help. And I'm like, okay, we need to kind of figure out how to revamp this and how to do this, completely differently. And it's a much slower process. So the more information that Ben can get out there to people to give them inspiration to get started the right way, it's just exponentially faster growth curve and an exponentially faster success rate than, when things have already fallen apart and everything's on fire and you're trying to, put out the fire with one blanket and a water wand.
Oh, sounds like you've been there, Wendy.
Which is still, still possible. We still do that too. Like anything's fixable.
Yeah, truly. Wow. It really is fascinating to think about regenerative growing cultivation indoors. So that's something that I'm excited to like dive more into. But again, we were talking a bit about the why. Why would anyone even consider going down this road when there are, ostensibly there are tried and true practices, there's pro science, there's all the nutrients, there's everything that we need to get what we want and get the perps, Tell me why regenerative?
Yeah, so really for me, it comes down to, I want to put back into the system more than I take out. Whether that's a plant system, whether that's my community, my family, I feel that it's sort of, it's a responsibility as humans, that we should improve the environments that we live in. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that I can do that is to help to minimize the environmental and ecological impacts that cannabis cultivation has. Unfortunately, the green industry is one of the dirtiest and most polluting. We are an industry full of turn and burn techniques. We've got a huge amount of waste that we produce. And the nutrients that we use, though highly effective in proper application, are mined minerals. They're things that are stripped from the land. And there's a huge amount of waste that goes along with the processes of creating and transporting them. So the why that I really focus on is just the way that I can touch one group of people and have a large ripple effect across the world, where if I'm able to help clean up one of the dirtiest industries, as far as specifically agriculture, then I'm able to have a much larger impact than if I were to attack something like that already has a substantial amount of work put into it, or is just a cleaner industry to start with. Right. So that's one of the main reasons why I do what I do, is that I want to improve the industry that I really believe in and provide better knowledge of ways to do things than I knew myself. And I mean, really, I've just had amazing mentors and teachers, Wendy being one of them, that have really been able to, like she said, skip that huge learning curve. I spent over a decade, like 16 years, learning and researching and trying to find solid data. And then within the past 5 years, it just eclipsed all of the time that I spent in the previous decade. It's all because of finding the right teachers with science-backed information that you can actually utilize. That is, it's tried and true, yes, but it's legitimately clinically tested. It's data that you can replicate.
That's incredible. That's so incredible. And that's not something that you hear a lot in, certainly in cannabis cultivation. I mean, and that you bring up, you reminded me of a great point, is that we are having a workshop in 2 weeks. Ben and Wendy, I think you're both going to be at that workshop. Yes. Okay, great. That's
might be it. Well, I need the date again. I just got invited to be on a panel in Sunnybis, so go to Barcelona.
Okay, well, I'll understand why you can't make it to the workshop, but it's an important, I think, time to plug these workshops, because this Calling All Growers series and show, it's not just about another kind of talking heads show and conversation about cannabis cultivation and techniques. It's about learning from the growers, learning from the experts. And so every month we're going to have a show like this that introduces techniques and new faces and new growers. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to have workshops with those growers. Those workshops will only be open to those people who have registered for the workshops. Typically, they're going to cost. Next month, the workshop will cost. This month, the workshop is free. We only ask that you register. And we'll have a special exclusive interview from Jim Belushi of Belushi Farms for that workshop. So it's definitely going to be a good one. So don't miss out. But I would love it if either one of you, both of you could pop in, because we're actually going to have growers who want to ask the questions, the hard questions, who are afraid, who are inspired, but maybe they live on the other side of the country. And they don't know that they can accomplish what the two of you have with your lineage and with your resources. So. And workshops.
Just for clarification, Liz, these are live workshops, right? So these are the people, they're going to be able to go on, and it's closed circuit, so it's not going to be broadcast anywhere. So if you do live in a place where, like Texas, where you do maybe want to grow THC weed, but you really don't want anybody to know what you're doing, this is a great opportunity for you to pop in, get some questions answered, and still maintain your anonymity and not have to ask, finding people on Instagram and then being nervous about DMing and hoping we get back to you and don't miss it. So it's a really novel approach to being able to do a workshop online for people that might not have access to this information otherwise.
Oh God, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. It just made my heart sing when you called out Texas and those Texas growers, those Liberty Market growers that we have, because you better believe that we have some really strong product out there, but it's all Liberty Market. So we are about to go to break. But before we do, I just want to let everyone know that our next guests are not to be missed. Two, not just one, but two. We've got Koby Guy and Patrick King. Koby is the founder of Cellar Door Collective, which is an heirloom vegetable farm. And Patrick King is the soil king, basically. He's got 35 years in agriculture industry, from picks and shovels to licensed cannabis grows. So you don't want to miss our next guests. So during the break, you are going to meet my brand, my media brand, my show on High Times, and it's called Grow House. Grow House is a series that my husband and I have produced, and it's about my husband Patrick. He's on camera too, and it's really all about two cannabis advocates and cannabis patients from Texas who have to go outside of our state to learn about the culture, to learn about the plant, and to bring that information back to our people and to our communities. So what you're about to see is when we got to visit Ascend Cannabis in Pueblo, Colorado. Theirs is an organic grow, and we got to learn from Scotty Embry. He is a master cultivator there and the founder of Ascend Cannabis. So that's what you're about to see. And if you want to see more about Grow House, you can find us on High Times TV. So see you when we're back.
I would like to sleep in this bed.
We have worms sleeping in this bed right now, too.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I take that back. Groovy, jazzy, funky, pounce, ounce, dance.
Children gather round.
Let's go to Pueblo.
Where?
Sunny Pueblo, Colorado.
We got invited to go to Ascend Cannabis Company to both their grow operation and their storefront, and we got to get up close and personal.
Ascend comes from wanting to do something different, to ascend above the standard and to really provide something different. We want to see the world really benefit from it.
So you dry in here, do you trim in here as well?
We dry in here, we trim in here.
Can we come work for you?
Yeah.
Could you imagine this is our job, just sifting? So your entire crop filters through this room?
Yep, every week we have plants coming down, fill it up, give it about 7 to 10 day dry time, and
it's just constant, every day.
You know, demand is always there. So for us, we have to keep it perpetual. Oh, they're plants and they don't take holidays, weekends. They're here all the time, and we're farmers, so we follow their lead.
What room is this, Scotty?
This is our vegetative.
So what is tickling my thighs right now?
That would be me, maybe.
How many people do you estimate that this crop right here employs?
We're looking at 70, 80 employees right here. People are part of this. Look at the growth. I've seen cities change, but marijuana doesn't get enough credit. I'll give it the credit it deserves.
We will.
I salute all your babies.
Thank you, girls.
You're doing the goddess's work here.
Thank you, girls.
And you have a girl, she's one now. What's it gonna be like for her?
I picture a company that stands the test of time, that stands in integrity, that does things differently, even when it's not easier for them.
Federal regulation requires that you stay in the state that you grow in or that you're working in. So if you're a cultivator and your state overgrows, which pretty much every single one has either allowed too much cultivation or not enough, you know, what do you do with the excess product?
Calling All Growers with Liz Grow is supported by The Grow Kit from StyleLighting.shop, Adaptive HR, built for your cannabis business, Revolutionary Clinics, where the patient comes first, by Accounting Buds, your accountant in cannabis, and by Salient Video Surveillance Systems for today and tomorrow's security. Want to learn from the best growers? Sign up for our Growers webinar in exactly 2 weeks. Go to procannabismedia.com and sign up today.
Welcome back to Calling All Growers, everyone. I'm your host, Liz Grow, and we're here for this live edition of Calling All Growers. We have Ben Morgan Dillon with us. He's back from our last segment. And with us now are two new faces. We have Koby Guy and Patrick King with us. Welcome, Koby and Patrick, to Calling All Growers. How's it going?
It's going good. You know, just doing the deal in NorCal, getting ready to jump to the Boston zone. Pretty excited to land down and, you know, put some warm clothes on and take, you know, I got shorts and flip-flops on right now. It's going to be a little change.
Gonna be a little chilly. I'm in Texas, so I hear you, my friend. I hear you. I'm, I will be in Boston as well. It's the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference. I can't say it enough, everyone. It's happening this weekend in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, and it's where the best in beyond organic farming cultivation are coming together. So, talk to me, Patrick King, the Soil King. You've had 35 years in the agricultural industry. When did you start seeing the trends or the tides turning to a more agriculture or a more organic, regenerative kind of way of doing things?
I mean, first, I always love to say there's no segregation in agriculture. And I'll repeat that for those that didn't hear. There's no goddamn segregation in agriculture. That's the way it is. And it's never going to change when we segregate. So with agriculture, 35 years, my first memories is my hands being in the soil. That's my first memory. My second memory, and it's just been, this whole life has been, it's the only consistent thing I've ever had in my life. And I'm blessed with that. Like, that's just like the best thing ever, it's my serenity. I'm playing in my gardens today. I'm looking at bees all early coming in California. It's just crazy, and watching the flowers. And to be able to see outside, the tunnel vision of the world, and actually look and be able to see what's in front of you and appreciate it is magical.
God, that's so true. There's just such, divine geometry in it all, and you can just really become fascinated. I feel like if we're able to slow down, and I think that's why I like hanging out with cultivators so much. So Koby, it's great to meet you, founder of Cellar Door Collective, organic heirloom vegetable farm. Sounds incredible. I read that you spent the last 4 years implementing KNF techniques on your farm. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah. As soon as I kind of picked up on KNF and just kind of was like, this is where I need to be. This is what I need to be doing. And it's definitely benefited my farm. I'm a smaller farm, so it works really nice for, I don't buy big pallets of fertilizer, or never did. And so being able to make everything on site, on farm, and if a kid gets into it, it's totally healthy and fine for them.
Right. I love that. And you're a chef. So
I like growing food and cooking food and making food and
awesome.
Food and feeding people. Yeah. Everything with food. I love it.
So have you changed your style now that you're, the KNF, believer and farmer, and it's what you're ingesting and it's what you're giving your plants?
Have I changed? So I started farming professionally vegetables, actually out in New England here. It's been about 10 years since I've been out farming here, but moving back to California, people were like, you're crazy. It's expensive land and no water. Why would you move to farm vegetables in that kind of situation? But yeah, well, we'll get into that backstory a little bit more. Let's see, okay. Friday, how my little transition getting to there. But yeah, it's definitely changed everything. My, bottom lines are very, very bottom. And it's fun to educate people because, like Ben was saying, it's very hands-on and tasting and getting into it, and it just sticks with you.
Oh, awesome. What do you find the biggest misconception is about it?
That you can't do it because you're not in Korea.
Okay.
Yeah, that usually throws people off, the whole Korean natural farming. Yeah. So sometimes we just refer to it as natural farming to keep it simple for folks early on.
Okay, good. Appreciate that. Awesome. So Patrick, do you employ KNF techniques? Do you have a farm? Or are you just a soil?
I honestly do a little bit of everything. I ship soil around the world. I give a medium that's really exciting to work with, that's highly tested. It's I think, what was it, Tom was his name, or Kobe? He's talking sustainability, right? He's feeding his soul from the produce to the kitchen to the plate. Like, there's nothing better than hearing that and feeling that. And so in this, I'm the Soil King. If anybody doesn't know out there, I also own, many cannabis licenses in California, in Oklahoma, as well as I love just to cultivate, and I love fungi, and I love, creating IMOs. I love everything of the learn. We learn so much. It's just crazy on this, it's just unbelievable is what the knowledge is. So bliss out there, and it's in front of us. And like I said, you just have to go hiking through the woods and open your mind. Like, it's all right there. Like, it's just, everything's right there. So yeah, so I do a lot of that. I have Soil King distribution, where we distribute soil all across the United States, different places in the world. We have other products coming in. Wendy and I are talking. We have a product coming out. We have a bunch of different things happening. I have a media, I'm a media company, Soil King Productions TV. So I do a lot of different things. I'm working on a big project with some networks right now, and that's all about hugelculture around the world, and taking legacy in every part of agriculture and giving them a voice. So there's so much stuff. I love it. This is my life. This is who I am. These are my tribe. These are my people. And I'm open to the education process always.
Oh, I love it. So what are you speaking at the conference this weekend?
I have a couple of them in a couple different times. One of them I'm really excited. I'm on the Outlaws panel. So, I've been to prison. I've had the helicopters. I fought. I'm an active, total activist for cannabis. I can put that patch of pioneering cannabis to where it's at today and being part of that tribe. Building bridges with law enforcement instead of getting doors kicked in and babies taken away from families. I actually got them to think about how pushing them indoors and making them hide and using chemical products, bombs, and all these different things, and poisoning their children, and they're actually doing more harm than they ever thought. And so there's so much to all of that. And I'm standing here now feeling good on the path that we all created to get to where we're at.
Yeah, that's beautiful, beautiful. On the East Coast, of all places, I feel like, this is it. I was so excited to just hear how it was really Humboldt. It's the West Coast. You've been farming, you've been using these practices, employing them, growing cannabis legally for so long. And now, the East Coast is just opening up, and, certainly they're not just starting to grow. Okay. They've been growing for a very, very, very long time, behind closed doors. But to be able to bring these beautiful regenerative practices, very healing, nurturing practices, I think, to the East Coast and East Coast cultivators is a really special thing.
It really is. I mean, just think about it. Just think, if you have a regenerative style indoor and you're going, if you're not buying soil every run, your runoff is adding value to the plants. I mean, to the planet, your intentions, everything is involved. You're saving the money, right? Let's talk about money. It's incredible amount of savings to be thinking. And then, like Koby's talking, sustainability, right? That's been a hard word that's been stolen, raped, pillaged all the way across. But true sustainability is everything. Right? It's not big agriculture just destroyed that word, just like they destroyed it with organic, the word organic. But it means something to us.
Right. Absolutely. So Koby, let's dive in there a little bit more, for those people who won't be fortunate enough to go to the conference this weekend. Talk to me about your talk.
We'll be talking food, farming, and microbes. Those are kind of my favorite things. I like farming and being outside. Some days you don't love farming as much, but that's when it's like 110. And yeah, that's part of farming though. So, and food, I actually brought some of my fermented hot sauces for people to try.
I will.
And then we'll talk microbes and how that plays into both food and in farming. So that'll be fun, and we'll pass some stuff around. And I'm kind of the vegetable grower who then became a cannabis grower. I grow a little cannabis with all my vegetables, kind of thing. So.
Oh, how fun. How fun. I would love to smoke it.
There it is right there. No segregation in agriculture.
Yep.
No.
Boom, right there.
Oh, I bet it's just happy bud. Oh man. Well, that's incredible. So Koby, what do you think the biggest misconception is about sustainability? It's such a hot word right now. It's very, valuable word.
Well, definitely. Yeah. Being in professional vegetable cultivation for about 10 years now is like, you hear organic and you hear this and you hear that. And I worked on organic farms and I did that. And all these practices I looked at and went, well, that's not sustainable. That's definitely not regenerative. Like, we're just buying and shipping stuff. And it just never made sense to me. And so that idea of sustainability and even more so regenerative, because we've taken the planet so far, like, we can't sustain anymore. We've got to actually like flip it around and get things moving the other direction, at least in plots of cannabis, in plots of veggies, like get these little, we'll eventually get the regenerative mycelial network connected. But little by little for now. I think that's a lot of these words that people throw around or that companies take and use, really just kind of lessens the importance of them and the value of the term itself. And so I think people now even are shifting from like using the word sustainable, because now we realize, we got to do more. Let's get regenerative. Let's keep the cycles looped and closed on our farms.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait to meet you. And I can't wait to meet you too, Patrick, at the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference this weekend in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. You'll be there with the experts. And if you can't be there, hop on the comments. Comments are open on YouTube. If you have questions that you'd like to ask, either Koby or Patrick or Ben Morgan Dillon, or I'm sure Wendy is still in the studio somewhere and you can grab her. But the comments are open. And then in 2 weeks, of course, we have our workshop, the Calling All Growers workshop, where you get to have real interaction with the experts, ask all the questions, learn techniques that you can then employ for, happier grow yourself. We will have an exclusive interview with Jim Belushi airing during that workshop. So get online and make sure that you register for that. So coming up on Calling All Growers, there's going to be a pop quiz for a t-shirt giveaway. So don't go anywhere. And you're also going to not want to miss this product showcase coming up. It's with Kyle Moffit of Stem Cultivation Systems. He's going to show us all about stem cultivation systems. So stay with us and we'll see you after the break.
Oh, hi. I'm Jimmy Young from Pro Cannabis Media, and I was just watering our fake plants in the studio here outside of Boston. You see, when it comes to growing things, leave me out of it. I'll leave it to the experts. And we all know the real superstars of the cannabis industry are the growers. Well, there's a Supernatural Organic Growers Conference that's coming to Massachusetts here in early February. That's right, this coincides with our new growing initiative here at the network for the cannabis industry. You see, the new year of 2022 brings growth to Pro Cannabis Media, literally, and in our programming. Our new live show is called Calling All Growers with High Times TV personality Liz Grow and Skunk Magazine editor and Humboldt native Wendy Kornberg. That's right, that live show debuts Wednesday, February 9th here at the network. And amazingly enough, the conference for growers, the first one ever, bringing in people from Humboldt County and the Emerald Triangle all the way to the East Coast to Massachusetts, is in Sturbridge, February 11th, 12th, and 13th. And yes, Liz Grow and Wendy will both be at that conference as well. Some of the most well-known growers from Humboldt County in California head east for the first time with their stories and experiences from that Emerald Triangle. Massachusetts' own Acadia Farms, Ben Morgan Dillon, will be one of the featured speakers at this year's conference at the Sturbridge Conference Center that Friday, 11th through the 13th at 8 a.m. So for more information, log on to organiccultivators.net for info and tickets. So grow with PCM TV and the Supernatural Conference, will ya?
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
Hey, You want to grow your own plants? Check out Style Lighting's Grow Kit. It has everything you need to become an expert home grower and bring the power of the sun indoors. Style Lighting uses TCP's high-powered commercial LEDs that deliver twice the output in the market. The Grow Kit has a grow bag, a timer, chains to hang the light, and of course the best in the business lighting system by TCP. Check out stylelighting.shop for more information.
Hi, my name's Tai Chang. I'm the president and founder of Aloha Green Apothecary in Hawaii. We're a vertically integrated medical cannabis company with 3 dispensaries, 1 extraction lab, and 1 cultivation center near the North Shore of Oahu. We have over 150 employees now, and we've been working with Adaptive HR to meet our human resource needs. We're super excited to work with them as we expand, and we've grown at least 2-3 times over the last 2 years. So we look forward to a good relationship with Adaptive, and come visit us in Hawaii anytime. Aloha.
Want to learn from the best growers? Sign up for our Growers webinar in exactly 2 weeks. Go to procannabismedia.com and sign up today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Calling All Growers. I'm your host, Liz Grow, and I am here with an all-star cast of growers for our very first episode. I'm with Koby Guy of Organic Cellars. I'm with Wendy Kornberg of Sunnybis, Full Sun Farms in Humboldt. Thank you very much. 2nd generation farmer. And then Patrick King, the soil king, essentially, who's been in cultivation, agriculture, I should say, for 35 years in all parts of it. And now joining us, we've got Kyle Moffit of Stem Cultivation Systems. Kyle, welcome to Calling All Growers.
Thank you, Liz. It's great to be here. Appreciate it.
So we are here. You are our very first product feature spotlight.
I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I'm glad I'm here.
I'm really excited. I'm excited to. So tell us about Stem Cultivation.
Sure. So STEM cultivation, science, technology, engineering, math. That is the reason why we branded that way. So we're coming at this in a completely different aspect in terms of growing. So what we're doing is building platforms so that these amazing growers, if they want to scale up, they have an ability to do so without really changing any of their known techniques, right? So we're not asking them to do anything differently, but by using our system, it provides a level of efficiency that we think is the way forward. We talk about sustainability and efficiency, but we actually have the numbers behind that because we think that is, that's a term that's being thrown around, but not quite sure that we've really gotten the stats behind what is current and where we need to go. So we're trying to help develop that that conversation and basically allow for growers with this amazing skill set to basically just do what they do now, but hopefully in a much more sustainable way.
So can you talk a little bit more about how you're doing it in a more sustainable way?
Sure. So we are a hydroponic system, a recirculating hydroponic system that can support organic nutrients. And it's really just a very basic system. And we're taking advantage of what plants do when you put them in certain situations. And mainly, we're exploiting this concept of gravitropism. What is that? And that is when if you make a plant start growing out vertically, it will naturally turn itself up. And that's something that you'll see anywhere in nature. Trees do it, anything does it. And why does that matter? Because it allows us to make vertical canopies that then allow us to make a lot of high quality product in a very small space. It also allows us to bring the lights to the canopy way closer, which means you can dim the lights because there's some physics involved, and there's an inverse square law thing. And again, STEM, we're nerds. What can we say? But we're taking advantage of these things so that you can use less power, use less water, use less nutrients, et cetera, but still not sacrifice any quality. And I'll give you an example of the kind of things that we're seeing. For instance, so you can see behind me, this is one of our grow rooms, and this is about 340 square feet, takes up about 340 square feet, and it's a self-contained unit. So it's a precise environment. And I'm on site here in Oklahoma, helping put up our second box. So we just are finishing our first grow in this box, and some amazing things. So we haven't weighed it yet because we're still in that process, but we're expecting above 80 pounds dry. Our record so far is 92 pounds dry in that space. But more importantly, I think, are the stats around sustainability. So for instance, in this grow, we've used less than 1 gallon per plant per week of water. We've also used less than $100 worth of nutrients to produce this much. And without doing anything, there's no potion, there's no magic. It's just putting plants in a physical condition that allows you to maximize the amount you can make in a given space. And then these downstream kind of ancillary effects that further increase the efficiency and sustainability of the system.
And what are you finding with the quality and potency of the product?
So there's nothing weird. I think the question would be, what's the difference between hydroponic and soil-based grows, right? Because we're not doing anything different from so if you believe that hydroponics offers something similar to soil, and I'm not here to, I don't have a dog in that hunt. I'll smoke anything, I don't care. But to the extent that hydroponics can offer that same level of quality, that's what you're going to get in this system.
Right. And some growers just prefer hydroponics. It's kind of their jam. The pH levels and it feels a lot more clinical, right, than soil farming, and regenerative farming, obviously. But a lot of growers do that and do it, for many reasons, space being one of them. How big is your footprint, Kyle?
So it's the entire box is about 340 square feet.
Okay.
But we have, but within that, we can put over 480 square feet of canopy. And so again, the size of the plants that we're growing and all that's we're not doing anything huge there, right? But these are normally grown plants of normal size and hopefully a higher quality, but it's just how efficiently can you do it, right? So the question is not how much can you grow, it's what's the least amount of electricity, what's the least amount of water, what's the least amount of labor that you need to get a given result.
Great, absolutely. So how can people find you, and speak with you?
Sure. So you can go to Stem Cultivation, StemCultivation.com. I say that a lot, so I can remember. But the first time I had to say it, I was like, but you can go to StemCultivation.com. You can contact me directly at Kyle@StemCultivation.com. And we have our own YouTube channel. We have which is just Stem Cultivation. You can see a lot of videos there. We have an Instagram just at Stem Cultivation. So that's where we post a lot of our media. But it's very easy to get a hold of us if you want to.
Awesome. And will you be at any conferences anytime soon where people can meet in person?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to get out to Sturbridge, but I don't know if I'll be able to get out of Oklahoma, Smokelahoma, as they say. but we are going to be at NECANN in Boston in March. We will be, we'll have a booth there, and you'll actually be able to see a section of our box, so you can kind of see what the magic is inside. So we're excited.
Oh, that's very cool. Well, very cool. It was so great to meet you. I'm really thrilled that you were our first featured product on Calling All Growers, you know, a show about tips, tricks, secrets of the growers game. So before we wrap up, I just want to remind everybody of the giveaway that's happening, the PCM t-shirt giveaway. Make sure to email your answers to the questions to info@procannabismedia.com. And I also want to remind everybody about the workshops in 2 weeks. Calling All Growers isn't just a series about interviewing growers. It's about interacting with growers helping growers, learning from each other and learning from the best. And so in 2 weeks' time, we will have our very first growers workshop. That workshop is free. We only ask that you register on Pro Cannabis Media. And we're going to have an exclusive interview with Jim Belushi of Belushi Farms airing for that workshop. And then we're going to get in and talk to the experts about regenerative farming practices, beyond organic. And yeah, so that's what's happening with the workshop. I am just so grateful to my co-hosts for today, Miss Wendy Kornberg of Humboldt, second generation cultivator. Wendy, can you just do this all the time? Could you just do this every show?
Yeah, we could do this 24/7, right? And never get tired, never have anything to not talk about.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And Koby Guy of Cellar Door Collective. I just totally spaced and I was like, organic heirloom, Cellar Door
Sounds
Collective.
good to me.
I mean, that's what
Branding.
we do. Yeah, right. Cellar Door Collective, so important. I can't wait to hear you speak this weekend at the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference. And I just can't wait to meet you in high five. Hopefully you'll save me some of your hot sauce.
You should have some.
Okay, so his hot sauce, I kid you not, has caused fist fights. Not quite fist fights, but got close. It got almost to blows. It's amazing. It's probably, it's not probably, it's the best hot sauce I've ever had. So when he said he was bringing it to share with everybody, I'm like, it may or may not disappear off the table on accident. I won't know what happened to it. Don't blame me.
You're gonna have to hide it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have cameras rolling, so we'll have to check the tapes. And Patrick King, the Soil King. It was just so great to be able to chat with you tonight, sir. And I can't wait to hear this Outlaws panel. I'm just going to sit and soak it all in, just gratefully learning and, being among the people who are teaching, the techniques, educating the educators, and the next generation of growers, sustainable practices so that we have an earth to continue to grow on. I think that sounds like that's the whole point of it. So Wendy, can you tell people again how they can register for the conference this weekend?
Yeah, so it's February 11th, 12th, and 13th in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. We do not have an online version of this time. This is the inaugural conference. So, adding that level of technology to it was just way more than I was willing to take on. And so it's got to be live this time. We will be recording it and hopefully releasing clips and things after the show. But you can go to organiccultivators.net. You can still pick up tickets. And they did actually just yesterday tell us that they upgraded us to a larger conference room just in case. So we'll have some tickets available at the door. So if you decide you want to come last minute, come on down.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to be there with everyone. And, I do want to announce really quickly a little sneak peek into our guest for March, our Calling All Growers guest in March. The second week of March is going to be Ed Rosenthal, the guru of ganja himself. And so I am just I feel like I'm just riding high into life. I'm going to the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference. I'm going to meet, the best of the organic cultivation from the West Coast, teaching on the East Coast. I'm going to meet so many East Coast cultivators. And I'm just really grateful. We're grateful for you all for sharing your wisdom and knowledge and support of, on this show, Calling All Growers, and to other growers and being educators. Because really what it does is it expands the reach of the plant across the planet. And as someone for whom this plant has saved, I am just completely grateful and in awe and in love with all of you educators and all of you growers. Calling All Growers is produced by Pro Cannabis Media and Grow House Media with generous support from our sponsors. I'll see you at the Supernatural Organic Cultivators Conference this weekend in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. And then in 2 weeks, we've got our workshop happening. Register online. I'm Liz Grow, and I'm calling all growers. Okay, I'll see you next time.
Oh, hi. I'm Jimmy Young from Pro Cannabis Media, and I was just watering our fake plants in the studio here outside of Boston. You see, when it comes to growing things, leave me out of it. I'll leave it to the experts. And we all know the real superstars of the cannabis industry are the growers. Well, there's a supernatural organic growers conference that's coming to Massachusetts here in early February. That's right. This coincides with our new growing initiative here at the network for the cannabis industry. You see, the new year of 2022 brings growth to Pro Cannabis Media, literally, and in our programming. Our new live show is called Calling All Growers with High Times TV personality Liz Grow and Skunk Magazine editor and Humboldt native Wendy Kornberg. That's right, that live show debuts Wednesday, February 9th here at the network. And amazingly enough, the conference for growers, the first one ever, bringing in people from Humboldt County and the Emerald Triangle all the way to the East Coast to Massachusetts, is in Sturbridge, February 11th, 12th, and 13th. And yes, Liz Grow and Wendy will both be at that conference as well. Some of the most well-known growers from Humboldt County in California head east for the first time with their stories and experiences from that Emerald Triangle. Massachusetts' own Acadia Farms, Ben Morgan Dillon, will be one of the featured speakers at this year's conference at the Sturbridge Conference Center that Friday, 11th through the 13th at 8 a.m. So for more information, log on to organiccultivators.net for info and tickets. So grow with PCM TV and the Supernatural Conference, will ya?
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
Hey, you want to grow your own plants? Check out Style Lighting's Grow Kit. It has everything you need to become an expert home grower and bring the power of the sun indoors. Style Lighting uses TCP's high-powered commercial LEDs that deliver twice the output in the market. The Grow Kit has a grow bag, a timer, chains to hang the light, and of course the best in the business lighting system by TCP. Check out stylelighting.shop for more information.
Hi, my name's Tai Chang. I'm the president and founder of Aloha Green Apothecary in Hawaii. We're a vertically integrated medical cannabis company with 3 dispensaries, 1 extraction lab, and 1 cultivation center near the North Shore of Oahu. We have over 150 employees now, and we've been working with Adaptive HR to meet our human resource needs. We're super excited to work with them as we expand, and we've grown at least 2-3 times over the last 2 years. So we look forward to a good relationship with Adaptive, and come visit us in Hawaii anytime. Aloha.
I'm a fan. That's Liz Grow, Pro Cannabis Media's newest show host for a new show, Calling All Growers with Liz Grow. Liz is a High Times TV personality who'll be joining our talk show program starting in February.
I picture a company that stands the test of time.
Stopping at nothing to meet the people who are growing this plant generation after generation.
Calling All Growers will be more than just another interview and talk show, especially if you subscribe to the Calling All Growers workshop and webinar. That's 2 weeks after the live talk show on the same growing network, Pro Cannabis Media and PCM TV.
This is a show about interviewing the top growers in the game. It's a platform where they can share tips, tricks, and secrets for those growers coming up. Cultivators are some of my favorite people in the world, and I can't wait to talk to some of these growers.
It all starts on Wednesday, February 9th, live at 8 p.m. Eastern on PCM TV, on Roku, Apple, and ProCannabisMedia.com. Subscription-only workshops 2 weeks later on the 23rd. Sign up today to hold your spot.
What's your favorite strain?
Free. If you're a grower or interested in learning more, tune in or...
You're missing out. Calling All Growers with Liz Grow.
Calling All Growers with Liz Grow is supported by The Grow Kit from StyleLighting.shop, Adaptive HR, built for your cannabis business, Revolutionary Clinics, where the patient comes first, by Accounting Buds, your accountant in cannabis, and by Salient Video Surveillance Systems for today and tomorrow's security. Want to learn from the best growers? Sign up for our Growers webinar in exactly 2 weeks. Go to ProCannabisMedia.com and sign up today.